Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today is the beautiful afternoon of Saturday, and we welcome you to the eighth edition of Business Opportunity Over Chai webinar series, which Franchise India is presenting to you. During these course of action, during this particular 40-45 minutes, we'll try to give you the understanding about very famous brand Super Donuts. We welcome our panelist, Chairman Franchise India, Gaurav Sir, NRMD, Ms. Sonia Chaudhary, to this particular session. We also welcome our brand founder, Ketan Kalra, who is there with us to give us the understanding about his brand. Super Donuts is India's first organized donut brand, started in 2013. Currently, they are running 10 plus outlets successfully and 15 coming soon. With this introduction, I would like to invite Ketan to take this journey forward. Thank you so much.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Franchise India for giving me this opportunity. And I would like to introduce myself. I am Ketan Kalra, and I'm an MBA in International Marketing. And I've done my food and technology course from London back in 2011 and 12 before I started this brand called Super Donuts. And I'm 30 years of age. So let's just talk about the brand first. How did it emerge? How did it happen? It's a very funny story, but a very interesting one as well. So, yes. So I always, as a kid, wanted to start something in the F&B industry because I was a mediocre student in school and we had less options because I didn't want to be an engineer or anything else. Like her parents अपने बच्चों को कहते हैं engineer बन जाओ, doctor बन जाओ. So I had this free thought about from my parents कि तुमको जो करना है. So when I was in London, I used to see a donut shop every day whenever I used to go to my college. So वहाँ पे there was a very long queue always. So then I got an idea कि यहाँ पे तो समोसे की तरह donuts बिक रहे हैं लंदन में. So then I wanted to bridge the gap in the F&B industry in India. And this market was untapped. There were a few players like MOD, Dunkin' Donuts, and even Krispy Kreme. Now it's in India, but that time there wasn't any big player. So in 2011 and 12, I did my whole research on the same model, how donuts are made, everything. At the same time, I was doing my food and technology course. So there was a lot of knowledge to observe and absorb. So just a second. Just a second. So only a few players were doing this. So then, just a second. Am I audible? I can't see the screen.
Yeah.
So yeah. So my research said that the staple food of America was only donuts, and they used to complement it with the American comfort food. And in India, ऐसा कोई brand था जो brands थे भी donuts के, they were only doing donuts and nothing else. So that's when we came into the image in the position to open our first store. Hello, sir, am I audible?
We can hear you well. Absolutely. Sorry for the issue. I think Ketan has logged off. So can anybody tell him to rejoin? I think his internet is not stable.
I've told him, sir.
by the time I think Ketan joins in, we thank everyone to be part of this session. Why we invited Ketan to be presenting today, because I personally come from Chandigarh, so I happened to go to his store once. He has a small store in Sector 8, where he, I think, started. And I was very impressed. I mean, this store should be about maybe 150 or 200 square feet. And the way he's managed full efficiency, very well trained people, and the product was fantastic. I'm not personally don't eat too much of sweets, but I took it home and everybody loved the product. And see, we saw that uh, he was a very credible and very focused young entrepreneur. He's obviously 30, and we see a lot of young people out there who are brilliant, and he studied himself and built his central kitchen in Chandigarh, and built a significant product. So we're very impressed with his product. Yeah.
Sir, I'm really sorry. There was some problem with the internet. I'm really sorry.
Okay. Okay. Very good. So you're back. So we cannot see you, obviously.
I'm trying. The video is gonna start in any minute. So I'll start speaking. So where were we? That I was doing my research in London, and then I happened to go to Europe and did all my research. Finalized all the raw material, looked after mixes, and then tried and tested a lot of stuff. Then the final product came after 6 months, and then we were all set to launch our first store in Sector 8, Chandigarh. And even today, this raw material is still coming from Europe, and we are getting a great response. So yeah. So when we opened our first store in Chandigarh, we were sold out every day for the first 3 months, and it became an instant hit overall in all age groups. So after 6 months, we started a second store, and then third, it started to multiply. And we, until the time we were not ready for a very strong backend support, we did not start to franchise it ahead. So now we are 12 running stores. We have 12 running stores right now, and more than 15 we have signed. After this ends, we're going to start opening our stores very soon. Our first store in Delhi, which is ready and all set to open, is just waiting for this to end at the same time. Yeah. And we recently, thanks to Franchiseindia, we recently signed a master franchisee in Gujarat, and we are doing 15 plus stores in Gujarat in this coming financial year. So let's talk about the brand's menu. So the menu is very different of Super Donuts. If you go to any other donut brand, you will just see donuts and coffee. But at Super Donuts, we serve a lot of stuff, and that's why it's called Super Donuts, the American Eatery. So it has products like donuts, which is the USP of the brand, dinkies, edible tubs, chucklers, freak shakes, to-go breakfasts, gourmet savory snacks, crinkle cut fries, and all of that. And I would want to show you some slides. So these are how the products look like. And we have our own in-house bakery, and so this is the whole menu. You can just take a look. So now we have super dogs, wraps, grill sandwiches, loaf sandwiches. So it's all American comfort food. Plus the brand USP of the brand are just donuts, and we do it very differently. If you see super drinks, American thick shakes, the bottles, the designs, the presentations are very different. The fries and nachos, and they're all takeaway jars. You can just take them away. So it's a new concept. We all have been seeing this concept in India since the last 3 years, like what Kevinters is doing. But yeah, also we have our own jars and tumblers for all of this. So it's a very innovative and creative menu. So now let's talk about the pricing of the brand. As you can see, the pricing is according to the Indian market. We've closely monitored the Indian palate and started localizing the product. And also we have kept in mind the price range. If you go to Super Donuts in 250 rupees, you can have a meal for yourself. And most of the brands are not offering this price range. And we also localize our product like majorly. for example, a butter chicken donut or maybe a chicken keema burger, very different products, which can, relate to the Indian palate. And sir, anything you want me to talk about, Gaurav sir?
No, you talk about everything. I mean, the journey, store, capex. We will take questions later, but you run through the whole concept of franchise. What kind of investment goes in? I think you have beautiful slides. If you can run through those
Yeah,
slides.
yeah. So now let's talk about the competitors. So there were and still are some competitors in the market for us, but we have an edge over all of them because of our product quality, the product line, the presentation, the creativity, and our innovation, which is all derived by the following world food trends. Like we majorly follow the world food trends, what's happening around, and we quickly adapt all these products to get into the market, and they are an instant hit. And we, one of our USP is that we really promote and make new products when there is something, some occasion in India. Since we have so many occasions in India, like Halloween, we have different donuts, Rakhi, we have a box of dinkies, Diwali, we do donuts like gulab jamun donut and kaju katli. So these things keep bringing people back. We do a lot of stuff on Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day. So yeah, and I'm going to show you. Then let's talk about the present franchisee models we have. So we have a franchisee model which is under 300 square foot, and which the investment is around 19 lakhs, 20 lakhs. The franchisee fee is 5 lakhs. And we have a royalty. We take 8% or 60,000, whichever is higher. The payback, usually our stores, pays us back in 13 to 14 months, and the agreement is for 5 years. And the other model is which is around 800 square feet, and the investment goes up to 28 to 30 lakhs. Since this pandemic is all over the world, and we all know that a lot of people are getting fired from their jobs and everything. So we have come up with we are working on it, a new financial model, a new investment model, which will be around 10 to 12 lakhs. And it's gonna be like a shop and shop or maybe a cloud kitchen. So that's the model we are working on. Yeah. And the support, the main criteria when a franchisee takes up a franchisee. So basically, they want to know what support the company is going to give them. So in this, we have a very strong support system to offer to our franchisees. So as soon as we sign the LOI, we allot them an account manager or a franchisee manager, and who helps the investor from the location to the staffing to the training. Everything we do, we provide all the solutions to all the franchisees. Like even the construction of the stores, we get them made for them. And even if the franchisee wants to get the store made himself, so we give them, we call that the Bible. We call it the Bible. So there are all the SOPs and all the drawings, so they can get the store made themselves. We give them all the vendors and everything. As soon as the store is ready, we get up on the marketing part, and we have a very good hold in marketing because we hire a PR company for every city we enter. And then we have a post and a pre-marketing plan for our franchisees. We connect with the best influencers in the city and make them a medium to promote the brand throughout. We also tap the radio hoardings and the Facebook and Insta marketing, which is the in thing these days. So we are not much into print media because we all think that it's an old medium, since it's a young and a fresh brand for millennials. How many millennials, follow the marketing trends now. So we are exactly on the same lines how all of this is going on. So anything else you want me to talk about?
Sure. So you want to talk about a little bit on the sales figures, what kind of sales you should do, and what kind of uh, because you're already running 12 stores, so it'll be good to share some sales numbers with all our audience. What kind of sales
Uh,
happen to each store and what kind of margins people make.
And also maybe the store format, different kind of business models and formats you have for a franchise, including maybe a unit and a master franchise model.
So let's just start from the stores and the sales, and then I'll come to your question. So now, when we have these takeaway stores, the sales which go up to 25 to 30K every day, and the areas where the footfall is low, the sales are like 15 to 18 grand every day. So it comes out to 6-8 lakhs a month. So majorly we think that's what we think. All the stores we are running right now are majorly in high footfall areas. If we talk about the smaller model, and even in the mall we are doing, but malls are usually not that footfall friendly. They are footfall friendly, but there are a lot of options in the malls. So the return of investment is around 13-14 months in the smaller model, and in the bigger model, the cafe and the bakery model, around 18 to 20 months, and the sales are skyrocketing. They're like 50-60K every day, because bakery plays a very important part in the sales. Like even if you sell a cake, it's for 1 grand. So in the small stores, we are not doing much of bakery, and in the cafe model we are doing a proper cafe menu and a bakery menu, so that shoots up the sales. Yeah. And the our food cost is around 28 to 29%, maximum 30. And the OPEX, we have a very um distributed menu in terms of controlling our food cost. Proper SOPs are always followed. The salaries and everything we give, the training that the franchisee gets, it's very different. And we tell the franchisee to follow these steps, and he's majorly able to get into that bracket of attaining more profits, and controlling all these small OPEXs like menu, rent, salaries, marketing. Yeah. Sonia ma'am, what was the other question? The next one?
In the store format, how big the format of stores is. I'm sure a lot of people would want to know. I'm seeing some questions of business buyers who want to understand the kind of sales a store does and what kind of format is needed. I also talked about unit and a master franchisee. Is there a model for both of them that you want to do?
Majorly in North India, like we are based out of Chandigarh and surrounding parts, we are doing unit franchisees in North India. And if a state like Rajasthan or maybe Gujarat, which we have already signed, or Maharashtra, we are planning to only give out the master franchisees. And if someone takes up the master rights, he can obviously franchise it ahead. And the QSR format is up to 300-400 square feet, and the cafe model is above 800 or 700-900 square feet. And the best part about our brand is, like, we are running 13 stores right now, and not even one single store is in loss right now. And all the franchisees we are dealing with are really happy with the business, the kind of innovation we do, the kind of products we are doing, and the kind of marketing support we give them. It's really good. So everyone, all the franchisees, like I'm telling you from my experience, they have recovered their sum in about 13-14 months maximum. If the footfall is low at some certain areas, it takes 18-19 months. So that's the ROI we are talking.
Great. So very helpful. Anything else you want to add on what kind of a franchisee you look at, and any other information before we start taking questions?
Yeah. So first we scrutinize our franchise in a way that if they have the ability to become an entrepreneur and if they are really willing to work, because the F&B industry, it's very difficult to manage it, and it until there's this personal involvement of the, I'm getting questions, sir. All right. So until there's some personal involvement, so we majorly always pick out those franchisees who have a zeal to work and who want to expand it through, and from one store they would like to have another store, or maybe just run the store very successfully. So we scrutinize a lot. And I was Sir Dhruv wants to connect.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dhruv. I take care of the franchising part of Ketan for Super Donuts Pan India. So thanks, Ketan, for coming in, and thank you for your time. Thank you, everybody, for joining this webinar. So I'll just take a quick round on the support and what the brand is about. So as Ketan has given a gist that he started in 2012, and it was his first entrepreneurial experience. He's come up a very long way in a very short time, I would say. I think it would be accumulated with a lot of research that has gone into the brand, the quality line, the products, the menu, the pricing, the strategic location of the stores, where high streets are there in Chandigarh. So Sector 8, where he opened up his store, please, wherever F&B is concerned, I think high streets are the place that do it for you. A lot of good footfall, and depending on the kind of products that you're serving, that area has to be shortlisted for the brand. So Sector 8, as he said, in Chandigarh is one of the most posh areas in Chandigarh. Second store in 35, then in Lante Mall, Mohali Prime area. So I think this is a format, this is a store with a menu and pricing that is, very suitable for very good catchment areas. But I think with a palette for such product as well is very important. I would say the USP of Super Donuts, the American eatery, is the product line and the centralized supply chain. So people who are interested in this product and people who are interested in F&B, they should realize where the sourcing is going to be. So if the sourcing of the brand is all centralized, so by that I mean if you have a store in Delhi, or you have a store in Dehradun, or for that matter in Jammu Kashmir or Punjab or Haryana, everything, there are 150 products on the menu, everything is pre-packaged and sent in a cold chain supply system. So what is the advantage of that? The advantage is that your product line is all similar. Like if you have a taste, if you taste something in Chandigarh, or for that matter in Dehradun or Jammu or Delhi, the taste will be all equal. It will be because everything is centralized. So that is the kind of systems that we're looking at from an F&B perspective. If your supply chain is very sorted, your logistics are sorted, there's a lot of support from the brand in terms of marketing. So by marketing, when it comes to all the digital media handles, please check out his pages, Super Donuts India on Instagram and on Facebook. I think the kind of initiatives that he's taken is the key to his success. A lot of brands have a lot of good product line, a lot of good products on the menu, but how you market it, how you present yourself, how you package it is the key. So his packaging, his presentation, you please see what he's done in his COVID times to promote his brand. I think a phenomenal, approach by Ketan to actually enter the market and to keep his brand alive in the last 2 months where no activity or no food supply has been going on. So coming to the franchisee models and all that are available, there are various models that are available. Up to Delhi NCR and up to I think Rajasthan, I would say single unit or multi-unit formats are there. By single unit, I mean that you can take up a franchisee of one single store. Pre-COVID, there were only 3 formats, which were QSR starting at 250, 300 square feet carpet area. Then to like a CDR, casual dining, to 600 to 800 square feet, and a big restaurant model, which would be 1000 to 1500 square feet carpet area. Investment starts off at 20 lakhs, which is all inclusive the total project cost for the 300 square feet carpet area model. And it goes up, 24, 25 to 30 lakhs in a larger format. Now, this is pre-COVID. Now, COVID, I think, has changed a lot of those dynamics. And what has come up now is low capex and low opex models. Low capex ka matlab hua ki where you're investing, for example, cloud kitchens have come up. So even Ketan mentioned that he's going to come up with a cloud kitchen. He's going to come up with shop-in-shop models. Now, what does that mean? Shop and shop model is, for example, you have a modern bazaar or a big retail store or a big area where a lot of items are on display. You can have a smaller format there in, let's say, 100 square feet or 150 square feet carpet area, where you have 60 to 80% of the formats. A cloud kitchen, whereas, it is a remarkable model these days, especially with the times to come. You can have a maximum of 500 square feet carpet area in a very, very good catchment area, but in a remoter area. For example, people who are from Delhi, I would say GK1 is a very, very high street area. But, a 500 square feet carpet area would cost approximately 2.5 lakhs of rentals every month. That is a huge OPEX. In a cloud kitchen, whereas, for example, you take up a place in Zamrudpur, which is hardly a kilometer away from GK1 main market, a 500 square feet carpet area would cost you not more than 25,000-30,000 rupees. So that way your OPEX is very, very low. But again, the point is the catchment area is really good. So here, if you invest just on the CAPEX, but you minus the cost of interiors, designs, your AC cost is gone. So these are the formats that have to be looked upon. Now, when we were talking about 20 lakhs of investment for a 300 square feet carpet area, I think a cloud kitchen in 500 square feet carpet area would not cost you more than 12 to 13 lakhs, all inclusive. By all inclusive, I mean the franchise fees, the kitchen equipment, certain other things like your menus and your chef cabs, chef coats, and all those smaller consumables and disposables, I would say. So these are the key trends, looking at the COVID scenario. If we can come up with shop and shop models for super donuts, and we can come up with cloud kitchens in very good catchment areas, I think that will be a very, very good way to go forward, because you'll save a lot on your CAPEX, a lot on your OPEX. Your salaries just remain the same, but your rentals are down by at least 10-12%. So all that comes into play. Now, another very good stat which supports cloud kitchen formats, why brands are going into cloud kitchens, is that major players like Domino's, like your Kishore Biryanis of the world, are going into cloud kitchen formats. If you see the latest trend, there's a news on a very popular channel that we have called Restaurant India on LinkedIn. If you see the stat, Domino's has actually upped its sales by 7.1% in the last 2 months, because that was the focus on deliveries. And I think with the COVID scenario, that focus will remain, at least for the next 6 months to 1 year. So I think, cloud kitchen, low OPEX, low CAPEX, high probability of sales, because delivery only formats will do well. 0 point contact deliveries will do well. Sanitized kitchens will do well. So all these formats, when integrated into super donuts for an area, you can really, really up your sales. And, there's a lot of great, tremendous support from the brand when it comes to training of chefs. Again, half of your battle is won, because you don't require trained sous chefs and, head chefs. You just require people who assemble your products, because, A plus B plus C plus D is equal to E. So for example, all your products are coming from Chandigarh base kitchen and you're based out of Delhi. You just have to assemble it. You need a guy to assemble it. You need to warm it. You need to, package it and send it off. So half your work is done. You are free from all kinds of chef problems. No replacement is required. You just require a normal guy who gets approximately 15 to 18,000 rupees or 12,000 rupees of salary, and you're not really chef dependent as such, because all your product line is coming from the base kitchen any which way. So I think it's a very, very good format, and I would say more the number of items on the menu, the better your prospects of increasing your top line. Bottom line to aapki वैसे कम हो गई है cloud kitchen में, because your OPEX is low, your rentals is low. But your product line, because it's so huge, your top line can really, really increase very well. And second to that, Ketan has another brand called Eaters. Now, what will happen in cloud kitchen formats, me and Ketan were discussing over a call, that he can merge these two brands out of a cloud kitchen format. So if you take up a franchisee of one single Super Donuts bakery, in the cloud kitchen format, you can also have Eaters. So your product line from 150 products goes up to 250 products with the same chefs, with the same interiors, with the same rental. So जहां पर आपकी सेल एस्टिमेटेड 7-8 लाख रुपए की महीने की थी, वहां पर आप दो ब्रांड के साथ आपकी एक्सपेक्टेड सेल और प्रोजेक्टेड सेल्स could go up to 12 to 14 lakhs, and your OPEX remains the same. So cloud kitchens are really, really coming up in a big way when it comes to F&B industry, and that is what we feel will be the future of F&B. So, we'll help you with the marketing. Super Donuts will put in all the efforts for marketing. Plus, we'll tell you how much money to spend per month on Swiggy, Zomato, what to do with your websites, how to increase your clicks, what menu to work on. I think, starting from 12 to 13 lakhs, American eatery with 20 plus stores in the last 7, 8 years, I think it's a phenomenal concept. So, coming to sales and break even, I think Ketan mentioned about 7 to 8 lakh rupees of sales in sector 8 outlet. Of sector 8 outlet, if I take an example, is a 250 square feet carpet area outlet. इसमें capex उसका हो गया 20 लाख रुपए का. OPEX है इसमें the rental, because he's at a very, very prime location. He's paying approximately ₹1 lakh of rent. This is the OPEX number 1. OPEX 2 is your salary, which is approximately 80,000 rupees. 1,80,000 plus your marketing cost plus your royalty. So we are saying that you're breaking even at approximately 12 to 13,000 rupees of sale every day, which is approximately 3.5 to 4 lakh rupees of sale a month. This is your break even sale that you require, wherein you are making no profit, no loss on 3.5 lakh to 4 lakh rupees of sale. Any sales that you do above this, for example, you do 20,000 rupees a sale a day, that is 6 lakh rupees a month. You are making 1.25 lakh rupees of profit. That ways for 20 lakhs, you're getting your break even in approximately 18 to 20 months. Now, again, we get this into a cloud kitchen format. So your sales from, sales will remain approximately the same or might increase with the product line and with the coming trend of delivery. Your salaries will remain the same, but your rent will come down to 25,000. So your profit, where it was 1.25, has gone up to 1.75 lakhs. So your break even further reduces to lesser amount because your capex is also low. Where your capex was 20, now your capex is 12 lakhs for the same format. Now, up to Delhi, up to Rajasthan, up to UP, we can do multi-units, we can do single-unit franchising. But barring that, if people are from Bombay, from Bangalore, from Hyderabad, from areas which are 500 kilometers or 300 kilometers away from Delhi, NCR or Chandigarh, we are looking at master franchising only. So master franchising is basically, we are looking at people who can replicate a brand, who can replicate Ketan's vision in that particular area, in that particular city, or in that particular region. So this is more about the brand from our side, and what Ketan's vision is and what progression we are looking at post-COVID, because these trends that support the F&B industry as of now, what we see are kitchen automated systems and cloud kitchens. So we are going heavily towards that, and I think this is the only way forward that we see as of now. Low OPEX, low CAPEX, maximizing on the ROI, maximizing on the marketing, maximizing on your third-party integrations. So this is what we think are the future of F&B, and this is what we think is the best way forward for our brand, Super Donuts.
Thank you, Dhruv. Very helpful. Dhruv is part of Franchiseindia and responsible for expansion of Super Donuts. So thank you, Ketan. I think very good insight. Now we will try to see some questions from the audience. And for everybody's interest, I'll give you some statistics because I'm seeing a lot of questions which are coming, and especially for people who always wanted to join F&B. And F&B is something which somewhere at the back of mind, everybody desires to open up his own restaurant, cafe, or any other format of F&B. And it's one of the most attractive. 35% of all franchise sales globally come in franchising, especially in food. And these days I'm hearing a lot of people coming and saying, what would happen to that? And I can tell you, if you go and study a little bit what is happening and wherever the world is opening up, like New Zealand opened up, and there were queues in restaurants, because something which we would always do is eat good food. And now when it comes to bakery, it has actually not gone anywhere. We are still having our breads, we are having buns, we are having a lot of other stuff in the bakery. And bakery is divided into two parts. One is what we call the industrial bakery. Industrial bakery is something which has been packed and given on the shelf. And second is what Ketan does, what is a gourmet bakery stuff. I think gourmet bakery is a shift. So a lot of people are shifting from an industrial to gourmet because it's more fresher, doesn't have too much of preservatives and so on and so forth. And then it can be further extended into both, other bakery products, savories, and so on and so forth. So Ketan has done a good job in expanding his menu. He's extended from just not being a specialist on donuts. He's obviously a specialist, and donuts are really good for him. And he does different formats, great packaging. But he's also extended his product from both the bakery line and also a lot of a cafe, which is a convenience food line, which means burgers, wraps, and nachos, and so on and so forth. So it gives a possibility of many things. It gives possibility of retail business. Retail business, you come, You pick up your stuff and you can go. And that's a good business, a very, very strong business. Even in COVID times, you're seeing all the small bakeries are open. People go and pick their stuff and take home. And it has extension of a cafe business. If people want, especially youngsters, like to come there and want to sit and experience. Young kids want to come with families and so on and so forth. So all bakeries I know do extremely well. They're all day diners and so on and so forth. And it is now also can be extended to purely a cloud kitchen. And somebody asked, what is cloud kitchen? Cloud kitchen is where you don't have a physical shop in front. You are only delivery options where you produce and just deliver in the neighborhood. I personally feel I would always like to go to shop fronts because you see all the cakes being displayed, donuts being displayed, and so on and so forth. And you just have to buy from there and bring back. It is also very hygienic because it's a very process is very controlled, and it's also offers a lot of safety. So I think one of the strongest, and why we invited Ketan to come, I will feel that the first to return in food business would be the bakeries. They would return the first, and they would do extremely well. They will do rather thrivingly well. So if you're thinking your city needs one good bakery and a donut shop, this is your time. I saw a lot of people writing from Haridwar, Meerut, Kurukshetra, and so on and so forth. So these places are fabulous places. The all places would do very well. What I think Ketan has also engineered is Indian taste. While a lot of other donut chains have come, and they're also respectable organizations, Dunkin' Donut or Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme is a phenomenal organization. But they all are trying to adapt to Indian. So because he comes from, basically being an Indian family, trained himself. And so he's able to adopt a lot of taste, which is absolutely apt for Indian market. Now, there can be two formats. You can also look at it. One is a master franchise in some states where the supply from Chandigarh Central Kitchen cannot be done. Say for the Gujarat, he's already done. But if you are in Bombay, I saw somebody, then you need to set up a central kitchen and as a master, and then you will supply to all the other outlets. And it can be only just takeaway outlets where you just do the last dressings and so on and so forth, and you just pass it on to the customers. He has a fabulous packaging. Another big business which comes to his business is gifting, a lot of celebrations. And so people are changing now, even in times of Diwali. Now you go and gift people donuts. So any function happens, any party happens in office or home and things like that, you do that. Bring those donuts, and you go to your kid's school and you take donuts with you, nicely, beautifully packed. So he has different sizes of packaging, which can be great for gifting. So it's also a good gifting business, which normally other F&B players cannot offer. So he has a much more extended, so it's a much more scalable in that sense. Now, for everybody to understand the food business runs on a science. And I always tell every investor to understand that science very well. So we have to divide the entire food into 5 important components. One is what we call occupancy cost. Now, occupancy cost is your rentals and so on and so forth. Good situation now is that rentals would come down, but in a business like Super Donuts, your rental should be 15 to 20%, not more than that, which means that if you take a location at 1 lakh rupee, it should minimum do a 5 lakh rupee sales for you. It should be 15% in ideal situation, but it can be in some prime locations, it can be extended. I personally feel that this would be a good time, the rentals would come down and would be a good opportunity for people to secure great locations, which they would never be able to do. Like shopping malls would be more than happy to offer you a very, very good locations. We also have a separate company, a gentleman has all joined called Remax, which can help you get good locations if you're looking at across India. And Ketan will work with our teams to secure locations at different, I think. So occupancy cost, first is occupancy cost. The second is food cost. As we said, 28%. It can be 28%, 30%, with all the imported product he gets from, because he uses a lot of imported products, and you need it. You need, if you're using chocolate, then you might need a Belgium chocolate and things like that. So it needs a good, 30% is your food cost. So what it becomes, you have 15% here and 30%, it becomes 45%. Then you need to have HR, and HR is also 10 to 12%. Then you have utility, which is your electricity or gas or whatever you use, or the freezers and display counters and all that works on utility, it becomes another 10%. And then you have a royalties on that. And royalties are percentage of sales, which he mentioned, if I'm correct, it's about 8%. So this you'd see would come down anything from a 75 to 80% would be your cost structures. And what you're left with is about 20% return on sales. Carefully understand return on sales. So it means that if you're doing a 5 lakh rupees of business, you probably would get about 1 lakh of rupee as a home. But now anything changes in this order, you will lose. Say for that matter, you get a property which is giving 25% of occupancy cost, it erodes your profitability. If your food cost goes up, it erodes your profitability. If you have too much of manpower, it erodes your profitability. So I feel that if you understand the science of doing food business, it will help you to design your models well. So Ketan, we will now like to ask a few questions to you directly, and I will invite Sonia to join in and start taking questions from Ketan. And Ketan, we are very, very happy to have you because you are a young guy and very passionate about what you do. And I always believe people who have great passion, especially in the food business, and they are the people who would shine. The food business needs extreme amount of passion, which you have always. I've seen you. You're very dedicated. So over to you, Sonia.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ketan, for coming on this webinar today. And I like your candid expression when you started off this presentation. And, apart from many industries that we are seeing today, food is obviously the most talked about, when it comes to franchising. And being a consultant ourselves, it looks like that we're only selling food brands. And these times have seen perhaps maybe, the times before lockdown, we saw the biggest number of inquiries and, joints like yours and smaller QSR formats doing great in the industry. I have few questions, which I wanted to start off, and historically we have seen the growth in the restaurant industry for several decades has been driven by a consumer desire for convenience, which is close, convenient food. Second is socialization. People like to meet over maybe coffee, food, and the third, and which is the most important part, is the high quality of food and service. And considering that the high quality of food and service is there to stay, we also seeing a new trend which has emerged, which is about the technology and the data which has come to surface, where we see many companies coming online, and because of stronger demand of digital and delivery in not only these times but even before the crisis began. Now today's consumer are interacting with restaurants digitally, even from the delivery to their takeout, the way they are paying, the way they're rating the experience. So all that has transformed big time. How do you see yourself preparing for this shift, or do you already have started doing that?
Ma'am, first of all, I would like to tell everyone that we are opening our stores from tomorrow, and because Punjab is open now, and Chandigarh, we are doing delivery from a factory because it's a bakery. So we are doing all the essential services. Bakery comes in essential service. So we are doing all the breads, everything in bakery, even the cakes and even donuts are a part of bakery. So we have got the permission for it. But now how we have prepared for it, it's a task, but at the end, all the businesses in the coming time, they have to do it or they won't be able to survive. Like there are very strong SOPs by the FSSAI of proper sanitization process, proper sanitization pads, pesticide sprays all over the place, and maintaining all the hygiene levels, social distancing. All of these things have come into place. We have already adapted these. Proper sanitization booths are in place. So जो हमारी commercial vehicle आती है जाती है, वो पूरी कार sanitize होगी. जो सामान उतरा है, जो सामान चढ़ रहा है, हर बंदे का temperature check होगा. So it took us like a week to get into this SOP, and now we are all ready to open. And what is the plan that we will survive or we will do good in this after this pandemic phase? Will be cutting down all the OPEXs. Like we are doing a very small menu like पहले 150 products थे, for now till the things become fine, जो minimum food cost वाले products हैं हम उसको special menus बना रहे हैं. And we are also working on the rentals. We are talking to the landlords because this time we cannot, no company can give the rents जो पहले थे. At least 40 to 50% rent we would like to get waived off. We are also, the guideline also says that 33% staffing के साथ आपका चलना चाहिए store या factory. So you know, even the salaries have been, you know, deducted or maybe reworked, and आधे लोगों को हमने मना करना पड़ा because of the guideline. So these 3-4 things जिनको मिला के हमारे खर्चे बहुत कम हो गए हैं. और अगर हमारी sales, because people have always been eating out since we are in the time of millennials, कि 1990 से ऊपर जितने लोग हैं वो 6 दिन बाहर से खाना मंगवाते हैं Zomato और Swiggy के थ्रू. एंड अब जो टाइम है वो यही होगा कि लोग तो वही हैं, बस वी आर इन दिस पेंडेमिक, सो वी आर जस्ट स्केयर्ड. सो आपकी जितने भी खर्चे हैं ब्रांड के वो सारे लो हो गए, बट आपको विद टाइम 3-4 महीने में उस लेवल की सेल्स वापस मिलने लग जाएंगी. बिकॉज जो ब्रांड अपने आप को अच्छी तरह मार्केट करेगा, अपनी हाइजीनिक तरीके से अपने आप को मार्केट करेगा, लोगों को दिखाएगा ऑनलाइन कि हम कैसे आपका प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हैं, टचलेस डिलीवरी. We have also started this service which no one is doing in our area, which is called a car hop service. We are getting some videos made, someone orders the food and we will deliver them to the car, and it's going to be contactless delivery. So the car hop service is we're getting a very good response on our marketing platforms, that car hop is a very brilliant idea, because Domino started with and all other brands started with a contactless delivery. This car hop service is the first, we are the first ones to do it. So खर्चे कम है, आपकी सेल्स वापस नॉर्मल हो जाएंगी. एंड अभी अगर आपके खर्चे कम नहीं है, यू कैन सिट विद योर लैंडलॉर्ड्स एंड यू कैन ऑब्वियसली टॉक टू देम. एवरीवन इज अंडरस्टैंडिंग राइट नाउ, सो दिस इज द बेस्ट टाइम अपने खर्चे कम करने का, बिकॉज़ एवरीवन इज अंडरस्टैंडिंग. So yeah.
Okay,
Good point.
thanks.
I think absolutely, and I am telling everybody to take a decision to start a food franchise now, while you'll have 3 to 4 months or what I call a little bit of gestation. But imagine if you took the property right now, you will get it at 40-50% discount. And if you get it 40-50% and you're running the business for 5 years or 10 years, imagine in 10 years how much money you're going to save. People are thinking about these 3 months, 4 months. We all know after 4 months, things would be same. We will still eat out, right? But you make a benefit of that discount on rental, which is your major cost, for next 5 years or 10 years. So intelligent people always make decisions to buy businesses at the time where their inputs are low. So this is a great time. Even the brands are giving greater options. So if you are thinking of doing a business like this, make your decisions right now, but with you know, with all the carefulness about food safety, people safety, your own safety. That's very important. But this is a very important point to be made.
Just adding on to that, you know, especially food, you know, it looks like a very attractive industry, and a lot of people don't make money only for one big reason, which is food cost, which is still in the hands of a franchisee or the brand to control. You know, we can see where to improve that cost. But the other big cost which really affects your bottom line and the margins are the rentals, the occupancy cost, which is very difficult because that is not something which is in our control. And somebody who's investing in these times, I'm seeing a lot of these companies, while a lot of brands are downsizing, they're seeing where they need to do their footprint rationalization. But many companies are looking at properties which will make sense in these times, because we have never seen a time like this, you know, where the rentals would come down. And I was reading some days back, almost 20% of spaces in malls, also in high street areas, have already started getting vacant. And this number would be higher when it comes to your neighborhood market, convenient market. So I feel this is a very good time for somebody who really wants to invest in an opportunity like this. And also, Ketan, just to add on, you know, a lot of businesses, especially in food, you know, they will also start facing tough decisions when they start opening. You mentioned you're opening tomorrow. And a lot of that will depend on how the starting point of food companies would be, and the actions which are taken by the leadership like you, and which I see a very positive statement which you made in terms of the preparation as a brand that you've made. I'll ask another question on the profile of people. When you started your presentation, you talked about your own experience. Relatively, you were inexperienced in food, and with our own experience also, we have seen a lot of people investing in food as a business are people who don't come with any kind of background or experience, especially in the food, while we see in many other industries like retail or sometimes in education where people have some kind of experience and they want to carry forward their experience in the businesses. But food relatively is a business. Even a lot of young entrepreneurs we see, coming in food. You're a young entrepreneur, and today all the top food brands or chains that we're seeing are all run by young entrepreneurs. So I wanted to understand, what kind of profile do you really seek when it comes to your brand, Super Donuts? What kind of profile of people are you looking at? And maybe give an example of your current mix of franchisees.
Okay. Ma'am, coming to this, I don't think there's any specific kind of an franchisee or investor. I think food business is the easiest business you can do because you don't need a degree for that. You don't need any paper appreciation. कोई भी ये काम कर सकता है, but it has to be in one straight line. If you go left and right in the food industry, you always tend to make mistakes. For instance, like I have made all the SOPs, I have made everything in place. So if someone takes up my franchisee, Super Donuts, so he has to do nothing. He has to just overlook after the training we give him. कि फूड कॉस्ट की हम उनको ट्रेनिंग दे रहे हैं, हम उनको कैसे बन रहा है, एवरीथिंग विल बी असेंबल्ड, ABCD लाइक ध्रुव सेड इज इक्वल टू E. सब कुछ हम अपना सामान भेज रहे हैं, किसी शेफ की जरूरत नहीं है. किसी 12th क्लास का पास हुआ हुआ बच्चा भी हमारे स्टोर पे काम कर सकता है, 18 प्लस. It's 1 o'clock. So it's very easy for the people to get into the F&B business. And for example, I'm going to give you some example. We have a franchisee in Elante Mall. So the girl who is running it, she was our marketing head for 2 years. She had a marketing background and she wanted to take up a franchisee, and we gave her this opportunity to run Elante Super Donuts. And now she's doing wonders. She's getting a lot of profit. She's also working with us, and now she wants us to give her another franchisee in Cosmo Mall Zirakpur because she's handling it really well. So एक मार्केटिंग का बैकग्राउंड का बंदा अगर आके फ्रेंचाइजी चला सकता है और वो एक्सपैंड करना चाह रहा है, तो आई थिंक एनीवन कैन. एंड सम अदर फ्रेंचाइजीज हैव अदर बिजनेसेस. प्लाईवुड का बिजनेस है किसी का, कोई डॉक्टर है, बट उनको दिन में 3 घंटे आके लगाते हैं, वो दे जस्ट ओवरलुक कि क्या हो रहा है, कल रात को क्या हुआ, एवरीथिंग इज इन प्लेस. सो if we are giving them support, then कोई भी, even the manager can become an owner. Anyone can become an owner. And aane wala jo time hai, so many people are losing their jobs, and anyone can take out 10 to 15 lakhs and buy a small model which we are working on from us and become an entrepreneur and can be successful in this industry.
Ketan, just to add on to that, I also feel, food as a category, it's very easy entry. There are no barriers, so to say, to enter an industry like this. And also, times like that we are seeing, we're also seeing a lot of organized players who should start doing very well because of, a suspicion of unhygienic street food, which people will start getting rid of. I will start taking some questions which our investors have started to post. But before that, I wanted to perhaps, ask you one thing, which is because these times are very critical times. Like you mentioned, people have lost jobs, they will lose jobs, and there's little investment perhaps they are left with, and they want to put in something they can really have trust on. So as a business model, the biggest risk of people is putting the initial capex and ongoing operating expenses, which you talked about, reducing on the staff and certain structure which will help in reducing the operating expenses. Is there a stimulus or incentives you want to offer to people who want to look at this proposition in this time, maybe for this month? Is there something over and above you want to offer to your investors who want to consider taking a franchisee of Super Donuts?
Ma'am, like Dhruv said, we have another brand called the Eaters, which is totally American comfort food. Now, since we are working on this cloud kitchen model, that's also an American menu. So with Super Donuts, we can offer them कि आप उसका भी menu हम दे सकते हैं. Plus, we can do a shop and shop अगर किसी को investment ज़्यादा नहीं करनी, स्टैंड अलोन स्टोर नहीं खोलना आने वाले टाइम में, बिकॉज लोग डरेंगे आने से, हर बंदा क्लाउड किचन की तरफ जा रहा है, शॉप एंड शॉप्स में जा रहा है. सो वी आर आल्सो वर्किंग ऑन दिस मॉडल स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम 10 lakh. So that's like an incentive only because you're opening a well-renowned chain in 10 lakhs, 12 lakhs model. So I think maybe obviously the franchisee fee has gone down because the model is now 10, 12 lakhs, 15 lakhs, which was 20 earlier. So we are calculating and we are almost done with the model. So it's going to be a win-win situation for both of us because at this time, if someone wants to start, he has something to start with in a low investment, and we have something to give in a low investment.
Great, Ketan. So I'll take some questions which are very quick. There's somebody who's asked about the royalty. There's a royalty component of 60,000. People want to know if that's a monthly royalty talking about or that's the annual royalty. And there's also a percentage that we see in the presentation. So it is either of the two, whichever is higher, or there's a fixed royalty structure that you have in your business model.
Ma'am, for now, what was going on was 60,000 monthly, which we take from the sales, or 8% of the sales, whichever is higher. But we also give them a cool down period for the first 2 months, 3 months. Ki jab tak you start, getting into the business, when you start running it properly, uske baad we start taking the royalty. And now, since the model has changed, the investment has changed. The sales will not be like before for the next 6-8 months. So we will be supporting the franchisees fully on a mutual agreement ki hum 6 mahine 8 mahine we will bear with you, and also we are also trying to cut down on the royalty, which will be around 40, 35, 40 depending on the location and everything, because right now we all have to learn a lot from this present time. We can't commit, but we can at least mold ourselves accordingly.
Okay, so what I'm reading and understanding is that there will be a reduction in the royalty, which somebody wanted to understand, and also because the sales comparatively would go down and will take some time to pick up. So you will consider reduction in the royalty and the fixed percentage, and over and above, you'll also support the franchisee in marketing, which is online and maybe local marketing, which was also a part of your presentation. I have a second question where one gentleman wants to know the break even or the operational break even, so to say. Well, the ROI you mentioned will take about 2 odd years, 1.5 to 2 years for an outlet to start giving you returns. What, according to you, is the month or the revenues on which an outlet should start breaking even on the monthly operating costs?
Ma'am, from my experience, so the first month is also a break-even month for us, because when we start, we have a lot of staffing, we have a lot of back-end support. So if the sales are 6 lakhs and we have 8 people, so then we pull out 2-3 people and then we put them at our other stores so that unka salaries down ho jaye, because that's the support we give. So agar salaries kam ho jati hain, food cost badi kam hai hi pehle, तो ये सारी चीजें मिला के at the end of the day we support them in this also.
Okay, I have somebody who wants to understand the kind of licenses which are needed. Every business needs some kind of licenses. Which are the important licenses a brand or a business like yours would need to operate?
Ma'am, it totally depends in the state you're working in, because in Chandigarh it's very difficult to you have to take a license on the pollution department, then you have to take a license from FSSAI. That's FSSAI you have to take all over India. Then you have a license to consent and consent of establishment. So there are different aspects of licensing which we provide to the franchisee, that he has to take these 3-4 licenses, and we help them out as well in those specific areas. So that won't be a problem. Licensing is like nothing before we start a business. It's like a cakewalk for us, and even the franchisee will be able to cope up with it.
So what do you mean to say you will help franchisee based on the state or the region he's from to advise him on the licenses? Perhaps he would need to start the operations.
Ma'am, since we hire local people, if we start working in a specific area like Gujarat, we have our own team now working, doing the recce of the location and the kind of business we will get. So we have these licensing guys and all of these people in place in different states.
Okay, I have Mr. Prakash who wants to understand the difference between the cloud kitchen and the shop front as explained by Mr. Maria. So I think part of that I can explain. So cloud kitchen is a kitchen which does not require to be in a premium spot. It can be in a location which is densely populated, deliveries are quicker, the rentals are low, and you need not have people coming in and taking these services. It is not a dine-in. While the shop front is a format where people come, they experience, they sit in these restaurants and they experience the food as well as these services. And rentals comparatively are higher. You know, these are locations which are higher on rental because people come and sit, and you also require a bigger format. Cloud kitchens comparatively requires a small format, 200, 300 square feet of space, which is good enough for preparation and deliveries. While shopfront would need space for seating, display of items where people can come and experience, you know, it is not transactional. While cloud kitchens are purely transactional venues where, you know, food is prepared and sent. And I hope that answers. I have Mr. Pareen Gala who wants to know, Ketan, you mentioned that a lot of your products are imported from Europe, and considering the situation that we are in, you still would procure, and do you see any difficulties in procurement of the supplies from international locations? One. Second, I'd like to add another question. You know, what is the current shelf life of your products? You talked about your business model being idiot proof, which means anybody like a CCD and many other cafe chains that we see, it does not require a dependency on the chef, which is very good. And a lot of businesses like yours and ice creams and, you know, parlors and cafes are in similar businesses where, you know, there's zero dependability on the chef. So how do you want to look at this? You know, how long is the shelf life? Any training which a franchisee needs on the food and maybe on the technical know-how? How well you're geared on this front?
Ma'am, as far as the raw material is concerned, material coming to the Bombay port from Europe is not a problem right now. So thankfully, we are not facing any problem, because all the problem is from the Asian side, China and Taiwan, all of that. So second, the shelf life of the product is, you know, now we have to, if we do a franchisee model, which is around 300 to 400 kilometers away from Chandigarh, we make the donuts and all other products in our base kitchen, and then we, you know, supply it to the franchisee. And we have also come up with a blasting technique. We are blasting our products in -18, so they have a shelf life of more than 10 to 15 days. Otherwise, it has a shelf life of more than 2 months. But we tell the franchisee to, you know, use these products within 10 to 12, 15 days maximum. And if someone takes up a master franchisee, then we are giving them a whole proper setup of making the donuts for the bakery, because they have to anyway invest in a kitchen. And then they can supply from their kitchen to other franchisees they're going to take up. So yeah, like how we are working in Chandigarh and North India, we would want a master franchisee to run it the same way, like the same base kitchen model we are doing. And if it's a single unit, then we supply within 400, 350 kilometers.
I have one inquiry which talks about your master franchisee fee. Is there a master franchisee fee for which is standard across all territories, or that is based on the number of potential locations in that particular state? Do we have a fixed master franchise fee to be offered to prospective master franchisees?
Ma'am, it totally depends on the state. Where, for example, a state like Gujarat, we all know that Gujarat, people love eating sweets and people love eating overall. So the franchisee fee will be something else. And if we go to some other state where, you know, you think that, for example, UP or Bihar, things going to take time for people to understand the product. It's going to take a few years or maybe few months. Then it varies. It's all a mutual understanding. But majorly we have a set franchisee fee. But yeah.
What kind of investment do you foresee for a smaller model, which is shop and shop? We talked about a shop and shop model, which can be inside maybe a retail outlet or a bigger departmental store. What kind of investment would go? We have one of the investors from Bombay who might be keen. He has a location which perhaps he has seen and he would like to open. So what kind of investment on a broad structure would a shop and shop involve?
Ma'am, first of all, the shop and shop will be under 10 lakhs or maybe less. But if someone is willing to take up a shop and shop in Maharashtra, for that we have to give the master franchisee rights to someone in Maharashtra first, and then he can, do all these small shop and shops or cloud kitchens, takeaways, and he has to handle it. We can't give one unit franchisee of a shop and shop model straight into Maharashtra.
Okay, this brings me to a question, because I see in that chat room a lot of inquiries which are coming for unit also from various cities outside Delhi, NCR, and North India, so to say. Locations like Bombay, Hyderabad, and overall South, West. I'm seeing many inquiries pouring in. So, are we looking at only unit? Are we looking only at a master franchisee model first to get signed, and then we'll start awarding unit franchisees, or somebody who cannot perhaps have the bandwidth or the investment to make for a master franchisee? Are we considering a unit or a multi-unit strategy as well?
Yeah, ma'am. We are also considering a multi-unit strategy. If the investment is less, then we can sign up something that you have to open 3 stores in this specific area, and we won't even give the rights to a master franchisee for this area. Or even if the master franchisee comes in the picture later on, then he can just take over all these 3 units. So that will be a possibility, but totally again depends. If it's like Hyderabad or Bangalore, then even the multi-unit franchisee has to make a base kitchen. He has to do that investment, and he can also run a cloud kitchen from that base kitchen and run 2 parallel outlets with time. We can set a timeline for the next for 7 months, 8 months, that you have to open 3 or maybe 1 year. So things can be worked out, but not a single unit.
Sure.
Right. So I think we have overrun our time, and Sonia, we would like to take maybe 1 or 2 more questions. One question which is critical, and then I think teams which follow the chat room and send all the messages. Ketan, you can also put your email ID on the chat, and
Sure, sir.
so anybody can reach you on perspective. So Sonia, last question from you, or last word from your side.
I think we have many questions coming in. What we can do, Ketan, is, and I will request Dhruv and Archana perhaps to take up these questions on a one-on-one call, or maybe a conference, post this seminar, webinar is over. I like to say, a lot of people consider franchising as an option, especially food is one of the most attractive industries which people feel. One very important, parameter which I feel everybody has to consider is, getting operationally involved. We receive a lot of inquiries for people who just want to invest in businesses, and they want the company to take over and take care of all the operations. But we have to understand, food, unlike many other industries, requires a physical presence and time of the entrepreneur, and that is what makes all the difference in the margin. So somebody who's very keen needs to also take the entire training on the business model. We cannot be running on a FOCO model. It is not a passive investment. It requires your time to be involved. And I would request anybody who's considering food as an opportunity or an option to invest in has to ensure that they're putting their times, and FOCO in most of the cases is never an option, especially in a food industry. So if you look at this industry, please ensure that you have enough time to run and take care of day-to-day operations. So I'd like to thank Ketan for this presentation. We have many inquiries where people want to understand the CAPEX structure, the investment which is required for various formats. And we'd like to take that up one-on-one with all of them. And last word from you, Ketan, which you want to give to all the viewers on this webinar.
I would like to tell everyone that in this pandemic, we are all together. But for the food industry and the franchise industry, it's not going to be a big hit. We will recover from this loss very soon, like in the next 6-8 months. And how Franchise India has come up with these webinars, and still spreading business all over, and still people want to connect with Franchise India and all other brands. So all of us will be in a good state very soon, as soon as this ends and things have started to become better. And I would want to tell that, we should just be positive right now and not think about the future much, because it's all going to be fine.
Absolutely, and we're all going to be fine, and we're all going to be thriving. That's what the franchise industry has always done. Franchise industry is one of the fastest to return, rather grow after any recession, because people change careers and they look at newer opportunities. And opening a bakery or opening a donut shop makes a lot of people happy. So if you're thinking of doing good business and you're starting a new business, maybe this is your option. And we have a super entrepreneur with super donuts. So Ketan, I would have last question for you, which is not business. What is your favorite donut in your donut shop? What do you go and eat every time?
Sir, apart from donuts, I have a few donuts, but apart from donuts, I've made the menu myself. So I like all the things
Everything.
that I've made.
Make one
And
choice. Make one choice.
one choice is very difficult. So
No,
if
no,
you
no, no. You make one choice.
So one bestseller is Team Double, which is filled inside with chocolate and topped with chocolate, but that's not my favorite. So I have a favorite which is called the Banoffee Pie Donut and the Butter Chicken Donut. So it's
Butter chicken
very,
donut.
The chicken.
Butter
yeah.
chicken donut from Chandigarh is the recipe, and this should go to, I think, London. You should take reverse and sell London butter chicken donut.
Let's hope for the best, and we will surely do this. And I will send a box of London butter chicken donuts to you and Sonia, man. Very soon.
Thank you very much. Look forward.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, everyone. The final word from Archana to close the meeting. Thank you.
So thank you so much everyone for joining us today. Thank you Gaurav sir, Sonia ma'am, Ketan for a wonderful session. As Gaurav sir said, it's a happy business. We wish all you to have this happy business. Have a great weekend. Happy Saturday. Thank you so much.